The following program is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It's now time for the featured bout of the evening. From the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now!
It is fight day in the desert, and this one is for the diehards. The lowest weights in boxing have often been so overlooked, but the two trailblazers who changed the game at super flyweight are getting ready to battle for a third time to determine who is best. It is Estrada, Chocolatito, the Trilogy, later tonight on DAZN. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Before the Bell. It is Justin Shackle getting you set up for Estrada Chocolatito 3 from Desert Diamond Arena here in Glendale, Arizona. The action begins on the main card at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on DAZN. The lineal super flyweight champion of the world, Juan Francisco Estrada, gets back inside the ring with the 4-division champion, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. All part of a very fantastic main card here, and the most anticipated fight to close out 2022 Estrada Chocolatito. Here on Before the Bell, we have 4 fights for you. We start from the bottom to the top. Beatriz Ferreira in action for the second time in 3 weeks as she takes on Carice Brown. Anthony Herrera closing out his first full calendar year as a pro. He takes on the local Christian Sullivan from nearby Castro. Mark Castro looks to improve to 9-0 as he faces Mexico's Michael Lopez, and Austin Ammo Williams in the main event here on Before the Bell, taking on Simone Madsen. We welcome to the set the former WBC super flyweight champ, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Fighter of the Year contender as well. Bam, thanks for joining us here in Arizona. This kind of has to be a special place for you now, capturing the title back in February, no?
Yeah, of course. Every time I come to Phoenix, it's a very special feeling knowing that I won my world title here, and it's always going to be memorable to me.
I think part of the reason why you are so endearing to fans is because when you talk about this division at 115 pounds, you give out that respect to the Kings. You always refer to them as the Kings, Quadras, Sorungavasai, and then tonight, Estrada and Chocolatito. What will you be looking for out of the gate when Juan Francisco Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez get in the ring?
It's going to be an amazing fight. I believe the best of the three, knowing that this is the Trilogy. They both want to leave the Trilogy off to win, have bragging rights. So with that mentality, it's just going to make for a very special fight and better than the other two.
The thing that stands out, the high work rate. Both fighters combined for over 4,500 punches between the two fights combined. Last time out, 2,159. That's like a magic number. You just know it off the top of your head here from that fight back in March of 2021. A lot of that coming from Chocolatito. As a student of the game, as a fellow 115-pounder, and a guy who does a great job moving. Your angles, obviously, are exquisite. What makes Chocolatito so tough when you think about the way he's able to punch on the move?
Yeah, he just doesn't stop. And like me, he has very good angles, very good footwork, and he's relentless. He doesn't stop. He keeps it coming, so that's a very hard style to deal with.
Now, you vacated this title that's up for grabs here. Vacant WBC strap, the Ring Magazine strap on the line as well. You're going down to flyweight, something that you said was in the plans all along, to be able to capture titles in different divisions. What is next for you in 2023?
My next fight's already for the WBO at 112 against Christian Gonzalez sometime in March, I believe. So we're going to get ready for that soon.
All right, and you have a Fighter of the Year candidacy, I guess you could call it. Is that something that matters to you?
Yeah, of course. That's a big deal. You know, when I started boxing, I never really, it was never a goal of mine, but now that there's talks about it, it's a big deal to me. And, you know, it's me and Bivol and the front runners. Like I said before, I have no problem with Bivol getting it. He defeated Canelo, the face of boxing, and he defeated Ramirez as well. Fairly easy. So, I mean, if he gets it, much respect to that. I respect that decision.
Yeah, I think you and Dimitri Bivol are the two contenders there for Fighter of the Year. Going to give you the platform, though, right here. Sell yourself a little bit. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, why does he deserve to be Fighter of the Year?
I stepped up 2 weight classes and defeated one of the 4 kings at Superfly, Carlos Guadalajara, on a 6-day notice. And then I went on and defeated the boogeyman of 115, Sorungavasai, probably the hardest hitter. And then again, right away, I stepped back in the ring against a three-time world title challenger in Israel Gonzalez and defeated him. So, I mean, there it is. 3 fights in 1 year, all championship fights, and I won them fairly easy. So, I mean, there it is.
Jesse, you packed a lot of activity into 2022. Best of luck in 2023. We're going to catch you on later on Before the Bell for the Mark Castro fight, so we're excited for that. Let's take a look at everything that has transpired as this trilogy has really been a decade in the making as we get set for Estrada, Chocolatito, the trilogy.
Juan Francisco Estrada has been fighting in the shadow of Chocolatito since that loss in 2012.
Big right for Chocolatito. He has been a phenomenon. They want more, and Chocolatito can always give more. El Gallo and Chocolatito are two. This is Chocolatito's fight right here. And Estrada, get revenge. The sliding faster hands of Estrada. Nice right from El Gallo. The crowd is on their feet.
We're back here on Before the Bell at Desert Diamond Arena, getting set for Estrada Chocolatito 3. We're just getting underway. We have a full Before the Bell card coming up. 4 matches. Someone we've seen recently as well as we welcome in the unified super featherweight champ, Alicia Baumgardner, to Glendale, Arizona. Champ, how you doing?
Great, blessed, happy to be here. It's going to be an exciting night tonight.
We have Beatriz Ferreira, Carice Brown coming up to start Before the Bell, but let's get your thoughts on the main event coming up later tonight. Juan Francisco Estrada, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Were you paying attention growing up as a young fighter, rising to, being a young professional? How much attention did you pay to these lower weights?
I think it's important that they're being shown, right? Because they work hard just as much as the heavier weight classes. And the fact that we're able to see a third fight tonight, I was there in San Diego to see him fight as well. So this third trilogy fight is to solidify each fighter, so I'm really excited to see how it turns out.
Chocolatito specifically, what stands out to you as a contemporary, someone who could appreciate the fight game?
His energy, like what he carries to the ring, how he carries himself as a fighter. He loves the fight. It looks like he loves the fight, and he loves to put on a good show.
What about Estrada?
Estrada, I think, just from the weigh-ins yesterday, I like to read people, and Estrada's here to fight. He's just like, I know everyone's here for Chocolatito, but I'm here, and I'm really ready to show the world why I matter tonight. So I'm excited to see both.
Something we were just talking about with Bam Rodriguez, the work rate, the punch volume is incredible. When you see as many fists being thrown as we have the first 2 fights, what stands out to you in that regard as a fellow fighter who, I remember, you go into the gym, you're tracking how many punches you throw on the heavy bag. When you see those types of numbers, how appreciative are you of that?
Listen, credit to them and all that work and being in shape to throw those many punches. When you are training and you transition that into a fight, it's amazing. I mean, the crowd loves it, right? We see an action-packed fight from round 1 to the 12th round.
We're going to keep discussing Estrada Chocolatito throughout this Before the Bell broadcast as we get set for our first fight of the night. Here's some footage from yesterday's weigh-in as we get ready for Ferreira Brown, and that is Carice Brown, 36 years of age, out of Lakeland, Florida. This is a super featherweight contest, Alicia, and I know you saw Beatriz Ferreira in Cleveland on the Love Spark card. What'd you like about what we saw from Ferreira on that night in Cleveland?
I did. I loved what I saw. Because that was her pro debut, who would have knew? And I love the hard work that she was putting forward to get her out of there. A lot of people with their pro debuts, they're kind of like looking for the knockout, but she was on her, and I like that. So that she shows that she's aggressive and that she's here to make statements, and I love that.
She had precision with her power punching. It was really impressive, and she is a fighter. We're seeing this more and more. A lot of pros are swinging back and forth, trying to compete for the Olympics. Paris is on her mind, trying to get that gold medal. When you hear about a fighter having to work back and forth with the 2 different styles, just educate us a little bit on the actual challenges and the differences in style between the pro and then someone going for a spot in the Olympics?
You know, I can speak from example. When I was an amateur and fighting, it was more of a how many punches can you throw? You know, and I've always had more of a pro style. So when I transitioned into pro, it's more precise. You're able to set more punches up. You're able to see things, no headgear, smaller gloves. And so that precision that you were talking about is key when you're fighting pro. And an amateur, you have to have that work rate, right? And you're working with 3 rounds. So it's a lot different, but I choose the pros over anything.
Well, Ferreira had 3-minute rounds in her debut back on November the 12th. Tonight, regular 2-minute rounds as she gets ready to go against Carice Brown. We are ready to go here on Before the Bell. Let's toss it into the ring with David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Desert Diamond Arena here in Glendale, Arizona. We are live on DAZN for a big night of World Championship Professional Boxing. We begin tonight with a 6-round attraction in the super featherweight division. Set to make a ring walk from Lakeland, Florida. Please welcome Carice Taz Brown, the Golden Child.
But Carice Brown is 36 years of age out of Lakeland, Florida, and she brings a 7-2 record into this evening's fight. Brown is coming off a narrowly scored unanimous decision loss to title challenger Vanessa Bradford. It was a ruling that was protested. It's currently under review, actually, after Brown claimed that she slipped, and the referee acknowledged the slip, then began the 10 count. So at the moment, Brown is looking to avoid her second straight defeat. She took this fight on 2 weeks' notice, and she has real power. 4 of her 7 wins have been knockouts. We'll see if that translates here against Bea Ferreira.
Well, in relation with Brown, I actually fought Vanessa Bradford, so we share a common opponent there.
And you might share another common opponent coming up in the near future. We'll touch on that.
Now, entering the arena, please welcome Beatriz, the Beast Ferreira.
There is 29-year-old Bea Ferreira. She said earlier this week she prefers to be referred to as Bea Ferreira. Obviously, her full name, Beatriz. She's fresh off her pro debut, getting right back to work. The 29-year-old Olympic silver medalist swept all 3 scorecards in that unanimous decision win over fellow Brazilian Tanya Cardozo on that Love Spark undercard in Cleveland. She knocked her opponent down twice with those precise power shots that Alicia and I were talking about. The fight was sanctioned for 3-minute rounds. And in her second fight here, it will be for 6 2-minute rounds. Ferreira is looking to quickly build up a pro resume and will put her in position to contend for a title. Again, 1-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, good evening and welcome to the Desert Diamond Arena here in Glendale, Arizona. We are live on DAZN for a big night of World Championship Professional Boxing. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle, AutoZone, Bet Online, and Stagefront. All of tonight's bouts are sanctioned under the auspices of the Arizona State Boxing and MMA Commission. The executive director is Danny Vella. The chairman is Scott Fletcher. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this first contest from ringside. From Arizona, Dennis O'Connell. From New Mexico, Chris Tellez. And also from Arizona, Chris Wilson. And at the sound of the bell, your 3rd person in the ring from Arizona, referee Joey Chavez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the super featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the purple with black and gold trim. She scaled 129.3 pounds. Her professional record, 7 wins, 2 defeats, with 4 wins coming by way of knockout. From Lakeland, Florida, please welcome Carice Taz Brown, the Golden Child. Brown. And her opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. She wears the blue with gold and green trim. She scaled 129.5 pounds. Her young professional record, thus far perfect, 1 fight, 1 victory. Here is the 2020 Olympic silver medalist and amateur world champion, fighting out of Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. Please welcome Beatriz, the Beast Herrera.
All right, ladies, we covered the rules in the dressing room, so you know my expectations. This looks good. This a little high. You can work the top. No punching in the back of the head. Watch your heads coming in. Keep your punches up. Above all, protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. You understand? Touch gloves now, back to your corners.
Joey Chavez, the third person in the ring as we get going here on Before the Bell, ahead of Estrada Chocolatito, here from Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Alicia Baumgardner and Justin Shackle with you here on Before the Bell as we get ready to roll 6 rounds between Brown in the black and gold trunks and Ferreira in the Brazilian colors. Going to work in her second pro fight, and already we see some pretty good movement from Bia Ferreira. Cracks Brown with a left hook. Bia Ferreira earlier this week as she puts together a nice combo, taking some photo ops with the Brazilian World Cup jersey on, and we were talking about it before the match. She wants to eventually get back to the Olympics. She took a silver medalist in 2020, trying to go back to Paris in 2024 as she continues to unload with Brown. She's trying to become just the country's 3rd gold medal in boxing.
First round, I love that she's establishing that jab and throwing those feints. I know she's coming in. She's going to take a little punches due to the height, but so far I think she's handling round 1 really well.
Brown has a 3-inch height advantage on Bia Ferreira, and the punches continue to come from the Brazilian. The aggression and the power, the accuracy as well, didn't take 3 weeks off. Maybe Ferreira did, but those traits are still here from Cleveland.
I agree.
And Carice Brown coming off a contested unanimous decision defeat to Vanessa Bradford. Bradford went on to fight Hungmi Choi, who can be lined up to face in 2023. And Ferreira has Brown a little wobbly here against the ropes, and they're going to rule that a knockdown. The ropes cannot save her there. So, for the second time in as many pro fights, Ferreira records a first-round knockdown.
Dealing with one of these, you need the free Fix Finder service from AutoZone. It checks these warning lights to email you a detailed report. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes.
Second round underway between Bia Ferreira and Carice Brown, and Brown has a lot of work to do if she wants to get into this fight. Ferreira recording a first-round knockdown here in her second pro fight. And Brown goes down near the corner there. And that's ruled another knockdown.
One thing about Beatriz is, as she's shown in her first fight, she's very aggressive. And, you know, Brown here is taking some punishment. So I would love to see Beatriz jump on her and finish her in the second round.
Here she comes with plenty of time left, trying to acquiesce to the 2-minute rounds in women's boxing as a pro. Brown trying to bombard her as she gets inside. Ferreira on the attack. Another stiff jab that splits the guard.
Brown with some movement. I like that. Not staying in one spot.
Trying to change up the game plan just a bit. Ferreira catching her, though, with some more combos. Getting in her most accurate shot of the fight so far. And there we go again. 4-punch combo from Ferreira, most of them landing. And is that going to do it? Joey Chavez waving this fight off. That's going to do it. In the books.
Just like that.
No, Bea Ferreira doesn't do it in extraordinary, impressive fashion in terms of a knockout, but she gets the stoppage nonetheless. And Carice Brown looking a bit puzzled. Yet she was obviously in a very tough fight, taking at the end of round and a half, it was clear it was a massive step up in competition.
For sure.
Wonder if that was the ref waving it off himself in her corner, perhaps. Let's see if we pick out anything here on the replay. It's a little strange because Brown was bouncing up on her feet. She was dancing there. It looked like she wanted to keep fighting.
To this contest, the official time of the stoppage, 1 minute and 20 seconds of round number 2. Declaring your winner by TKO, she's still undefeated, Beatriz "The Beast" Ferreira.
So, second round TKO for Bea Ferreira. And she is enjoying herself for sure. I asked her after that fight in Cleveland, like, what was the American fare that you were most interested in, that you just dug into right after? She didn't say like a food item. She was like, I crushed pink lemonade. So
Pink lemonade.
Pink lemonade. Like pink lemonade and salmon. She said the salmon in the U.S. just hits different. So maybe she will enjoy salmon and pink lemonade here as she puts together another impressive display of power and more volume punching in this fight.
For sure. I love it. You know, her energy, what she's bringing to the ring, the sport. I just love seeing women elevate in the sport of boxing, and we had a great fight here with Beatriz.
You know, Eddie Hearn has been talking up Bea Ferreira for a while here and really praising her leading into her pro debut. Hasn't really stopped here. Feels like she could be on the fast track based on what you see now for, what is it, about 6 rounds or so? You think she can hang with some of the more experienced pros?
I think she can hang. I think I would love to see the adjustment with time, because I know when you're dealing with 3 minutes to 2 minutes and finishing somebody, that's important. So I think she's right. She's right on track. You know, I think her debut really placed her at a good spot.
So she improves to 2-0, picks up her first pro stoppage. Carice Brown, meanwhile, falls to 7-3 and suffers her first loss via early stoppage. And we are 1 fight in here before the bell as we get ready for Estrada Chocolatito 3 coming up later tonight on DAZN. The main card beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk more here about Beatriz Ferreira, victorious, getting some quick work in. She's going to be pretty busy in 2023, but it's going to be a unique schedule because we talk about training for the Olympics. There's a few tournaments happening, one in February, the World Championship, I believe, in India in March. There's the Olympic qualifier in October, and her management team said that in between all that, she wants to sprinkle around maybe 2 or 3 pro fights. What is the challenge? I know we touched on it briefly, but what's the challenge there between kind of starting and stopping, going back and forth between pro and amateur?
The challenge could be sometimes overbearing with a lot of training and just finding that balance, you know, and it's important that from going from amateurs to pro that you still have, you know, the difference in what you have to do and what your task is as an amateur and as a pro. And I think so far for with these 2 first fights, I think she's doing great. I think she'll be able to find that balance and do so.
The good thing is that she has the same team in place for both. Matias Alves is her pro coach. You saw him in her corner earlier. He is also her amateur coach as well. So it's a tough task for him as well. This is going to be a pretty busy year, maybe her busiest as a fighter between jumping back to the pro style, the amateur style as she gets ready for Paris 2024. We have 3 more matches to come here on Before the Bell. I know you're going to be sticking around for the next one as Anthony Herrera and Christian Sullivan get ready to go at it. It is the second of 4 fights here on Before the Bell, then 4 more on the main card. When we look at the main card, obviously the main event's there. Be excited to see any other fellow fighters on this card because, again, the lower weights are showcased nicely. You also have Diego Pacheco doing a terrific job, kind of graduating from Before the Bell, going on to a main card.
Yeah, super excited. Again, I'm so excited for fight night, right? And when we have the crowd and you have the fights and you have these competitive fights, it's just a good time to be in the arena. So I'm looking forward to every fight, honestly, tonight.
So you have Pacheco, obviously, Joselito Velasquez, Christopher Rosales starting up the main card, Diego Pacheco going at it in that second one, like we mentioned, Julio Cesar Martinez defending his WBC flyweight title in the main event with Juan Francisco Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Plenty of storylines on the way to the main event tonight. Matchroom Chairman Eddie Hearn recently touched on some of those as we get set for Estrada Chocolatito, the Trilogy.
Unbelievable action. Mark, you may go years and years and not see another fight like this.
Well, when you talk about why you're so excited for Estrada Chocolatito 3, watch number 1, then watch number 2. I had the pleasure of promoting number 2, and all I could think about when that final bell went is, when's number 3? 1-1, 2 quite controversial fights. Estrada believes he won the first fight. Chocolatito believes he won the second fight.
Big right for Chocolatito stepping in.
And now an opportunity for the war to settle it all. Estrada got the decision in part 2 in a fight that could have gone either way. Many feel that Chocolatito deserved to win that fight, but if you look at his performances, particularly against Julio Cesar Martinez, he looks like he's getting better and better with age. And I believe you're going to see one of the great performances from Chocolatito throughout his entire career on December 3rd. I also believe you're going to get a fired up, much improved Estrada, who's looking to take this trilogy 2-1. El Gallo is just a tremendous fighter, you know, a fighter with, of course, the Mexican grit, the heart, a true warrior.
This Estrada is tough.
And you know in this fight exactly how it's going to play out. Neither fighter going to take a step backwards. The punch count's going to be absolutely insane, off the chart. And the intensity of the fight, the speed of the fight, the drama of the fight is going to give you everything you love as a fight fan. And it's been a difficult year for boxing, and I feel like these are the kind of fights that we need to make. These are the kind of fights that will put a smile on fight fans' faces. These will show us why we love the sport of boxing.
A sensational battle royale between Roman Gonzalez and Juan Francisco Estrada.
The keys to victory in this fight is so difficult. There is no key to the lock to win this fight. You've got to be versatile, you've got to have tremendous heart, you've got to have a great engine. I don't believe this fight doesn't go 12 rounds. I think you're going to see a war of attrition against 2 modern-day greats. I think that you only really appreciate these great trilogies as the years pass. I mean, this trilogy has taken many years to develop, and there's been lots of fights in between. 2 future Hall of Famers, 2 pound-for-pound greats, 2 Fight of the Year contenders already. This trilogy will go down as one of the greatest in boxing history. But this is the one that matters. It's one apiece. After this fight, you're not going to think about who won the first, who won the second. You're just going to ask who won the trilogy. Both guys will be remembered as true greats of the sport, but the winner will be cemented as the one with the greater legacy in the sport, in my opinion.
This crowd is on their feet.
Wherever you are in the world, December the 3rd, there's only one place to be, live on DAZN. The greatest trilogy of our generation, Estrada against Chocolatito. One apiece, all to play for. The war to settle it all in Phoenix. We can't wait.
Back here at Desert Diamond Arena, I'm aboard the bell. It's Justin Shackle, it's Alicia Baumgardner getting you ready to roll. We just saw Beatriz Ferreira victorious via second round TKO over Carice Brown in her second pro fight. We just saw Eddie's thoughts on Juan Francisco Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez going at it later tonight. When you have a big anticipated fight like we do here tonight, as a fight fan, you put your fan cap on, what do you look for at the start in the first round between 2 decorated champions?
First thing I'm looking for is who's setting the pace. Not even the pace, but the energy. I'm here to stay, and I know, like, when that bell rings, it's game time. So who's going to lock in? Who's going to go to work?
Is that the same as aggression, though?
In a way. Controlled aggression, I would say. Controlled aggression.
We've seen Roman Gonzalez do a fantastic work over the course of his career with that controlled aggression, getting inside. He out-threw Estrada in the second fight, yet Juan Francisco Estrada coming away with that split decision win in the middle rounds, the 6th, the 7th. It seemed like the blueprint was discovered by Estrada, finding a way to get to Gonzalez. It was with jabs, it was body work as well. A lot of people felt like he did enough to come away with the win based off some of those middle rounds. But in the championship rounds, very interesting because he was outpunched by Gonzalez. And if you go back to the end of round 9, it was Estrada's corner who pretty much thought and told him, hey, you're behind in this fight. You actually need a knockout. Not just saying, hey, champ, you're behind in this fight. No, you need to go for the stoppage. And yet he was outpunched in those championship rounds. How did you see that second fight playing out?
You know, it was close. And I think when you have a corner who's going to be honest about getting the knockout, you know, that's important, right? I still believe that Chocolatito still did what he had to do. And again, this is why we're here for the 3rd fight, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited.
It's already like a Fight of the Year contender. I mean, we haven't even gotten ready for the first round, and people are billing it as that. On paper, you have the potential to be a Fight of the Year contender. All right, let's talk about you here. 2023 coming up. We know that there are discussions with Hunmi Choi to try and go undisputed. She's obviously the WBA champ. What can you tell us about those discussions and where we're currently at with a fight potentially in the near future between you two?
Yeah, so the discussions are live. You know, my team's working very hard to make sure that this fight happens. 2023 is going to be huge. I know they want to see me just break open undisputed at 130. And again, it's important that we're making these fights. And I'm this close. And again, it's coming. It's coming.
Do you think that we could see this? Is this like a very first fight for you in 2023, or would it have to be pushed back somewhere in the first half of the new year?
You know, it could be as early as next year. And I know that my team has been pushing that. You know, we want to stay busy and we want to stay active. And it's important that we get that fight as soon as possible so we can solidify the division.
Any dream destination? I know you fought a ton overseas. It's time for you to come back here, fight on your home soil. Is there any dream destination within the U.S. that you have in mind there you want to compete here in 2023?
Yeah, I would say New York City. You know, I was there for the Amanda and Katie Taylor fight. Amazing. The atmosphere was just incredible. And to know that that was filled with people, I want to do the same thing. And I think New York is just a great place for boxing.
April 30th, it was an eventful night in the big room at MSG in New York. York City. We have still a ton more to go here on Before the Bell. Our second fight coming up shortly as we take a look at what is coming up. We saw Beatriz Ferreira victorious over Carice Brown. Anthony Herrera getting ready to go against Christian Sullivan. 6 rounds there at the bantamweight division. And then Mark Castro and Michael Lopez, 8 rounds there. Castro fighting in his second straight 8-round match. Maybe one of his last 8-round matches on the trajectory that he's on at the moment. And it's almost like we're stealing from the main card, Alicia, with Austin Ammo Williams billed as the main event here on Before the Bell. He is on track to potentially get a title shot in 2023. Currently ranked 5th by the WBA, going up against Simone Madsen. When you take a look at the next 3 fighters we have, obviously with Herrera, Castro, Williams, you've seen them over the course of the last year or so. What do you like about any of them? What stands out to you with those 3 fighters?
You know, I was here last time Before the Bell, and I've seen Castro, I've seen Williams, and they've progressed so highly. And again, when you have a card like this, it's all about proving yourself and really solidifying yourself as a fighter. And so I expect nothing less.
All 3 fighters were just on the Canelo Triple G3 undercard at a T-Mobile Arena on September 17th. They all picked up victories. They're all obviously trying to do the same and close out their 2022s respectively on a high note. Going into 2023 women's boxing as a whole, other than a Baumgardner Choi unification undisputed title fight, what do you think the best fight is to be made in women's boxing right now?
Right now, I would say we want to see the rematch between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. I think a lot of people want to see it. It was just action-packed for the first fight, and just a high-caliber fight. And we all love a fight like that. So I'm looking forward to that rematch. All
right, so that's something that could be on the horizon. A lot of discussions, a lot of numbers have to make sense for those two. But yeah, there was a lot of people who thought maybe Serrano won at MSG. It was a tightly contested matchup. That's a very, very good selection. I definitely want to see an undisputed fight, though, at 130, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Anthony Herrera and Christian Sullivan are due out next. And then we have Mark Castro and Ammo Williams coming up here on Before the Bell. We're also going to be hearing from Beatriz Ferreira in moments. That's what we're being told. The fighter that started off Before the Bell, she's going to come up here, so we'll be able to talk to her, get her thoughts on her second-round TKO over Carice Brown. Let's go back to this main event tonight with Estrada and Gonzalez. Based on the first 2 fights, the way they played out, and based on what we were talking about with energy, aggression, who do you think needs to be more aggressive out of the gate tonight?
I would say both of them. I would say both, only because we're dealing with 2 fighters who have already fought each other. So again, like I mentioned earlier, who's going to have that controlled aggression off the bat and really carry the fight? Eddie Hearn mentioned that it's not going the distance. So I would like to see who's going to come out that first round.
That'd be wild. Third fight, both fighters in their early to mid-30s. This one not going the distance, it would be the cherry on top of the cake. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from our first match here on Before the Bell tonight. Beatriz Ferreira, Carice Brown going at it, and right out of the gate, Ferreira was a menace, blitzing Brown with combos as she picks up the second round TKO. And the referee ultimately stopping this, and Herrera sending her down in the first round. The ref eventually waving it off. We have the pleasure to be joined by Beatriz Ferreira right now. She takes a look at some of her work in this opening Before the Bell bout. Victorious yet again. Second pro victory in a month's time. She picks up her first pro knockout as well. She's joined by her interpreter. Beatriz Ferreira, congratulations on improving to 2-0. Love that energy. Congratulations. Let's see some of that energy up here.
Parabéns pela grande vitória e parabéns. E como está a sentir agora?
Estou muito feliz. Obrigado, graças. Thank you. Estou muito feliz. Eu queria ter lutado mais. Me preparei muito e é uma adrenalina diferente. Eu tô muito feliz de estar fazendo isso. Eu adoro lutar e eu me encontrei lá em cima do ringue.
I'm very happy. I wish I could have fought for longer. I was training for a very long time, but I'm very happy with the result.
Were you surprised that the ref stopped it as abruptly as it seemed?
Ficaste surpreendida que o ref parou a luta?
Eu queria ter lutado mais. Eu sabia que ela estava sentindo os golpes, eu sabia que ela não estava querendo muito a luta, estava muito nervosa. Queria ter mostrado um pouco mais para poder o nocaute ser melhor, mais bonito.
I was hoping to be able to fight a bit longer. I could tell that she was slowing down a little bit, that she was a little bit nervous, but I wish I could have shown more and had a more clear knockout.
Oh, fantastic game plan coming up firing right out of the gate. Congratulations, Bia, on improving to 2-0.
Obrigado.
And Christian Sullivan are coming up next. These are some scenes from the weigh-in yesterday here at Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale as Herrera gets back to work. He's been a pro now for just over a year. He debuted right after Thanksgiving on the Lopez Cambosis card in New York City, and here he's taken on an opponent who was on very short notice. At the beginning of the week, Christian Sullivan didn't know he'd be in this position. We'll talk more about this as this match unfolds, but it is Herrera 3-0-1 and Sullivan 8-0 with 5 knockouts coming up next here on Before the Bell. Let's head into the ring with David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest, 2 young undefeated fighters face off in a 6-round super flyweight attraction. Set to make his ring walk from Casa Grande, Arizona, Christian Sullivan.
Like we said, if you spoke to the 24-year-old Christian Sullivan on Monday, walking down the aisle at Desert Diamond Arena on Estrada Chocolatito Trilogy night, was not part of his weekend plans. But here he is, and he has a chance to open up some eyes. Sullivan is putting his 8-0 record on the line on short notice, took this fight less than 100 hours ago, and he has some power that should be respected. 5 knockouts in 8 matches, but we could potentially see some ring rust from Sullivan. This is his first fight in nearly 4 years. Again, undefeated. The record has to be respected until what we see in the ring. But Sullivan is 8-0, and he is here tonight to fight.
And now entering the arena from East Los Angeles, California, Anthony Superman Herrera.
Herrera stepping out a little bit here in his 4th fight in 2022. He's been a pro for 53 weeks. Made his debut, like we said, on Cambosis Lopez last November. Had a very nice opening year, but it's also filled with some great learning experiences for a young fighter. He's 3-0-1, and it includes the impressive knockouts, the first 2 of the year. Also includes a draw in Mexico where he felt wasn't appropriate. He fought through some swelling from a headbutt in his last fight in September, where he won a technical decision over Delvin McKinley on the Canelo Triple G 3 undercard. And here in Glendale, Herrera will look to close out 2022 with a clean and impressive performance on a card that is celebrating the lower weights in the sport. This one at super bantamweight.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Desert Diamond Arena here in Glendale, Arizona, live on DAZN, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle, AutoZone, Bet Online, and Stagefront. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this contest from ringside. From Mexico, Javier Camacho. From Arizona, Chris Flores, and also from Arizona, Chris Wilson. And at the sound of the bell, your 3rd man in the ring from Arizona, referee Tony Zano. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 6 rounds of boxing scheduled in the super flyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner wearing the black trunks with the white trim. He scaled 119.7 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one. 8 fights, 8 victories, 5 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Casa Grande, Arizona, please welcome Christian Leoncito Sullivan. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the black and white tartan trunks. He scaled at a ready 119.6 pounds. He is also undefeated in his campaign as a professional with a record of 3 wins, no defeats, 1 draw, with 2 of his 3 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of and proudly representing his home of East Los Angeles, California, introducing Anthony Superman Herrera.
Boxer, 2 seconds. Right here. Fellas, we don't know the rules in the dressing room. Expect a good, clean, professional fight. Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Punches here are considered good. Punches here are good. Touch them up, give them hell at the bell.
Here in his pro career. As we get going, Herrera in the plaid trunks and Sullivan in the black trunks with the white stripes. Now Herrera's wearing these plaid shorts, which are inspired by Little Mr. E from Foo's Gone Wild. Are you familiar with that Instagram page, Alicia? Yeah, me neither. But the idea began when Herrera created an Instagram reel of him shadowboxing on the famous 6th Street Bridge near his home in East LA, and the clip went viral. It had like over 75,000 likes, and because of that clip, people started calling him Superfoo, nicknamed Superman. But you heard some people in the crowd right before the bell rang for the first round, they called him Superfoo, so that's what he has on his trunks here. Nicknames have to come natural, right?
They do.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Remember,
shorts are different. So.
Yeah. Remember the first time someone referred to you as the Bomb?
No, never. I feel like I gave myself that nickname.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just revealed your secret.
Yeah.
Well, Herrera working here. That signature left hook to the body, which we've seen in previous matches in 2022, coming out to start the first round. Herrera said for this fight he really is focused on firing shots from different angles and wanting to get some work in with his mid-range game. He said the close range game he feels is already polished. He has that down, but he wants to clean up the mid-range and the long range more.
And he's looking really good with those body shots.
Sharp Herrera fighting on his on the back foot. He comes in with that sharp jab. Sullivan last fight was back in February of 2019. And a 4-year layoff, received a late call. And a good exchange there between Herrera and Sullivan. Sullivan said, yeah, I came to fight, let's go. Christian Sullivan is from nearby Casa Grande, Arizona. It's about an hour south of Phoenix. Putting together a 3-punch combo, ending with that left hook to the body. Final 10 seconds here, the opening round, is Anthony Herrera and Christian Sullivan with some good action in the opener. Start of round 2 between Herrera and Sullivan. Second fight here on Before the Bell as we get closer and closer to Estrada Chocolatito, the Trilogy here in Glendale, Arizona. Alicia, Christian Sullivan coming in, received as late of a notice as you can get, right? 8-0, 5 knockouts. Odds are stacked against you. What's like the first thing that you should be thinking about and just continue to tell yourself if you're Christian Sullivan?
I mean, honestly, just to get a call and to be on a fight card like this is major. And as you can see, he's really bringing that type of energy to say, hey, even though I had this layoff, I'm still coming forward. And I like that. I like what I see from him. Even though, you know, Herrera is coming forward, Sullivan is fighting back.
So far, Sullivan answering the call. Figuratively, literally here against Anthony Herrera, but Herrera controlling the pace, moving at a distance that he probably prefer, something that he wants to work at. You saw him kind of nod to his trainer, Edgar Hasso, between the rounds. Yeah, he's okay. Nothing that I can't handle. We'll see if that holds true over the course of this 6-round fight. Herrera doing a very good job early on in his career, lowering himself, working toward his opponent's body, and it's continuing here against Christian Sullivan. Able to get inside. And here's Sullivan, unleashing a couple of combos to the body. Herrera answers back. Scrapes him with an uppercut. And that jab being established well by Anthony Herrera.
Very well, very sharp.
Moving it to the body, doubling it up upstairs. And Herrera getting his timing, his angling down pretty pat right now. The swarming style is still there, something that he feels is a trademark to his approach, but we're seeing different dimensions to Anthony Herrera here in this fight and in his last fight against Delvin McKinley back at T-Mobile Arena in September.
Yeah, I like his work rate in round 2. The punches that he's putting together is so important. And he's throwing more than one, which I like to see.
Anthony Herrera swinging and moving, for the most part in round 2, connecting on a lot of punches. Some of the action from round 2. How is Herrera starting to really settle in and set the tone in this fight against Sullivan?
You know, I think, again, the punches, the punch combinations, he's throwing more than one. And again, this is a 6-round fight, so round 2 was perfect. So round 3, I expect nothing less. And I think he's doing everything he's supposed to have that control, aggression that we talked about earlier. And I like it. I like what I see.
We also saw a lot of energy from Sullivan in the first round. You think some of it was sapped in the second?
I would say so, yes. You know, we have to respect, you know, Herrera in his mission to being already in shape for this fight, right?
Anthony Herrera 3-0-1. Looking to make it 2 straight wins since a draw in Mexico back in June. Came away with a technical decision win over Delvin McKinley. That was a moment where there was a headbutt simultaneously with a punch that Herrera, as he knocks down Sullivan here in the 3rd, and he scores the first knockdown of the fight. It was a punch that he felt sent McKinley down. That was the reason why it should have been waved off. He felt like he deserved the knockout instead of the technical decision. But here is Sullivan getting back up, and Herrera now trying to close the show with over 2 minutes to go. Unleashing right hands and left hands. Moving to the body with that left hook. Meeting Sullivan with some punches to the face. He's on the retreat and hanging on. Herrera can smell it. Trying to close out 2022 with a stoppage. Again, going to the body, back upstairs, snapping Sullivan's head back. Tony Zano telling Sullivan he needs to fight back. Watching closely, Herrera continuing with the three-punch combos, and now he has him in the middle of the ring. There's some blood on the face of Christian Sullivan. Herrera winding up, cracking him with a left hook, and another one upstairs. Sullivan moving lower, Herrera going to the body, and that's going to do it. Fight's waved off. Superman with a third round TKO. We respect the valiant effort of Christian Sullivan again, taking this on such short notice, and Herrera able to separate himself in the third round. Gets it here to close out his first full calendar year as a professional in December on the Estrada Chocolatito card. If you take a look at the replay, it was that left hand that turned the chin of Christian Sullivan in the third, and there was plenty of time to close the show for Superman. Let's get the final ruling with David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Tony Zano calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 1 minute and 41 seconds of round number 3. Declaring your winner by TKO, he's still undefeated, Anthony Superman Herrera.
Anthony Herrera recording the third round TKO, picks up his third stoppage of his young pro career, now 4-0-1. See his trainer, Edgar Hasso, Manny Robles Jr. come together there. Christian Sullivan, again, valiant effort. He is undefeated no more, but it was his first real live action in nearly 4 years, so he falls to 8-1, but Superman, maybe Superfoo for this one. He said he likes both nicknames. Superman's the one that came first. He's sticking with that one. And Alicia, he could continue to stick with those devastating left hands, whether it's to the chin or to the body. He's got it going on with his left hand.
No, I agree. Very, very powerful in that left hand. I'm questioning my left hand. I'm like, I know it's the right hand, but I know this left hand is pretty strong as well. So credit to Herrera.
And he did, again, it was noticeable. He said he wanted to try and work on the mid-range. It was noticeable how he was stepping back more, jabbing on his heels a little bit, setting up punches that way, utilizing jabs, and not throwing single punches. That may stick out the most there. We see that a lot in fighters, especially young fighters. He throws nothing but combos.
No, I agree. He did exactly what he wanted to, and you just seen it in his punches. Again, controlled aggression is so important, and for him to be 4-0 is amazing, and he's definitely on the right path.
So this fight, a fight for Herrera that originally was scheduled to be at 115 pounds, obviously a late notice, late fill-in. They agree to a catch weight as we see Herrera entering the ring there, getting ready for the face-off. And Herrera was talking about earlier this week being the first of these lower weight fights to take place on this card. Then you have the main card coming up later. It's a chance, an opportunity. He said everyone loves to draw comparisons these days. Well, they can start comparing my style to some of the bigger names at 112, at 115, obviously at 118 as well. So this is a terrific opportunity for a young fighter in these lower weights.
Yeah, I agree. When you're able to take the opportunity and change that to work better for you, I love that. I love when you're able to take advantage of that opportunity, and Herrera did that tonight at 112. That's amazing.
What was your first vivid big moment as a young pro where you said, man, this is the opportunity that I have to seize?
You know, I think it was when I accepted the challenge and I was 6-0 to fight a 9-1 girl. I was excited because this girl was a high caliber fighter, and I took a bet on myself. It was a great fight. It was a split decision. I had gotten my first loss, but I learned so much because I knew who I was as a fighter at that time. So it was great.
So Anthony Herrera, again, improving to 4-0-1, picks up his third knockout, and he's stayed very active. Was able to get some terrific learning. I know we mentioned it at the top with his ring walk. Kind of like a little bit of everything in his first full pro year here in the pro ranks. Getting a draw, which he felt like it shouldn't have happened. Again, he was down in Mexico. Felt like he should have won that fight. Did enough to pick up the victory. Got the headbutt. You always have to deal with that type of adversity as well. Was able to pull through with a win in his last fight after the headbutt and the swelling over his eye. And in between all that, we have impressive knockouts punctuated with those left hands. We saw a couple to the body previously in the year to stop some fights. This one, the big punch was obviously the one to the chin of Sullivan. So Anthony Herrera, exciting things to come here in 2023. All right, back to the main card. Again, coming up 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on DAZN. First fight out of the gate, Velasquez-Rosales. You have a true crossroads fight in that match as Velasquez looks to take a step up, put his undefeated record on the line against a former WBC flyweight champion in Rosales. He's trying to vie for another title shot. And that is a fight that is going to kick off the action on the main card. You have Diego Pacheco kind of ascending to the next level. We kind of joked about it. He's graduated from before the bell. He's undefeated. He won his first regional belt his last time out. Now he's making his first defense. There's a big difference between capturing that belt and then defending it for the first time. Did you feel that on your first title defense?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's one thing to get the belt, it's another to defend it and constantly defend it because, you know, everybody is watching. Everybody wants that belt. So you have to make sure that you are in tune with yourself and making sure that you make that same as you did when you got the belt.
Which moment has more glory? Is it the win or is it the first defense?
It's the win.
Okay.
It's the win.
I figured as much. Let's take a look at some of the footage from yesterday's weigh-in as we get set for our third fight here on Before the Bell. It is Mark Castro and Michael Lopez at 135 pounds. These two coming in clean under the 135 pound limit. Both doing a terrific job in their lead up to this fight as Mark Castro looks to improve to 9-0. We talk about the education of a young pro like Anthony Herrera and the lessons he learned this year. Same thing for Mark Castro. This was a guy who was knocked down in March on the Chocolatito Martinez card, experienced a knockdown after recording nothing but early stoppages. He's had to go to the distance a couple of fights this year. And then he kind of reapplied what he's been able to learn in certain situations, and it kind of led up to one of the most fascinating knockouts and punches that we've seen on our Matchroom schedule in 2022. It was a flush uppercut that ended things. It was just one punch that closed the show in his last fight against Kevin Montiel Mendoza back on the Canelo Triple G3 undercard in Las Vegas. Did you see that one live? Did you see that punch live?
I did. And I've been, again, seeing him on Before the Bell, so he's definitely progressing. And again, he wants to continue showing that.
We're going to have Pam Rodriguez come on and join us for this third fight. Alicia, terrific job as always working for you. She calls the first two fights. There's going to be a host of rotating guests coming in as we get rolling along here on Before the Bell and count down to the main card, again, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on DAZN. But coming up next, it is Mark Castro. It is Michael Lopez, as we have an undefeated fighter in Castro going up against the 16-3 Michael Lopez. Castro moving very quickly. Again, this is his second 8-round fight. Eddie Hearn kind of alluded to it in the press conference the other day that there might not be too many 8-round fights in Castro's future with the way he's been able to excel. So it'll be Castro and Lopez coming up here in moments to take a look at the tail of the tape. Castro is half El Salvadorian, half Mexican. Lopez from Baja California, Mexico. It's actually, in an ironic twist, the hometown where Castro's mother hails from. So some local flavor there. Castro will be taking a trip to El Salvador.
8 rounds in the lightweight division. Set to make his ring walk, Michael El Coyote Lopez. During the arena, please welcome the undefeated Mark Castro.
23-year-old Mark Castro looking to close out an excellent 2022 with a final act that will try to live up to his last one. The knockout that we were talking about. The 8-0 Fresno native recorded a sensational 5th-round uppercut against Kevin Montiel Mendoza back on September 17th in Las Vegas. It was an uppercut that ended the match immediately. Tonight will be Castro's 2nd straight 8-round fight. We've said it before, by the way, he's progressing. Could be one of his last 8-round fights. When he was asked what he has in store for this evening, Castro said, "You can expect what we have been seeing, a calm, composed Mark Castro." The question now is whether that composure will lead to more explosion in the end, like it did 3 months ago in Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Desert Diamond Arena here in Glendale, Arizona, live on DAZN, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored tonight by Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle, AutoZone, Bet Online, and Stagefront. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this contest from ringside. From Mexico, Javier Camacho. From North Carolina, Kevin Scott. And from Arizona, Chris Wilson. And at the sound of the bell, your 3rd man in the ring from Arizona, referee Joey Chavez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 8 rounds of boxing scheduled in the lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears the white with red and green trim. He scaled 132 pounds even. His professional record, 16 victories, 3 defeats. He has 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Presentando de Ensenada, Baja California, Mexico, damas y caballeros, Michael El Coyote Lopez. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the red with green and gold trim. He scaled 133.6 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one. 8 fights, 8 victories, 6 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Fresno, California, here is the 17-time amateur national champion and 2-time amateur world champion, introducing Mark Castro.
All right, gentlemen, your trunks look good and your trunks look good. We covered the rules in the dressing room so you know my expectations. But as a reminder, watch your heads coming in, no punching in the back of the head or the back, and keep the punches up Above all, protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves now and back to your corners.
Oh my God.
Mark Castro 8-0 with 6 knockouts, and Michael Lopez on your screen 16-3 with 8 knockouts. We are underway with our third fight here on Before the Bell, and we are joined by the 17-0 Jesse Bam Rodriguez. It's really weird to not call you a champion at the moment. The moment, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. Happy to be here. Appreciate you guys having me for this co-commentary, and I'm excited to see how this fight goes.
We are all moving toward the main card coming up at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on DAZN. The main event, of course, Estrada, Chocolatito, the Trilogy, as Mark Castro is in the red, green, and gold trunks. Lopez in the white trunks with the red and green going down the side as Mexico labeled on the back. These are two proud fighters with Mexican heritage. And Castro looking to remain undefeated and improve to 9-0. Castro whacks Lopez with a right hand to the body. Jesse, you have seen a lot of these fighters that come up on Before the Bell now over the course of 2022. We've seen a lot of Mark Castro. What stands out to you when you watch him fight?
He's very technical. He's unorthodox at times, but that's just his style. That's how he fights. But it's a special kind of style that you don't see in many fighters. He knows what to do and when to do it. So it's very exciting to watch because you never know what he's going to pull out of the trick book.
A lot of critics will say, yeah, he has a unique style, and because it's so unique, because it's something that they've never seen before, they question how far it could take him. But look, something could work for an individual, and I feel like that's what we have here in the case of Mark Castro.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's something that people don't see many times. So even as a fighter, it throws him off a little bit fighting a style like that. But like I said, Mark knows what to do and when to do it. So it works to his advantage at all times.
Castro sometimes being able to bait his opponents forward, and then as they come inside ready to throw, he's able to crack them with some punches as they encroach. He tries to wail at Lopez with a couple of right hands, and he connects along the ropes. Now they move back to the middle of the ring. Castro coming off a sensational 5th-round knockout against Montiel back in Las Vegas. He said earlier this week that is easily his most impressive knockout as a pro. Seen a couple of quality right hands that have landed here. Both rights and lefts touching the chin of Michael Lopez as the first round winds down.
Dealing with one of these, you need the free Fix Finder service from AutoZone. It checks these warning lights to email you a detailed report. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes.
Second round of action underway between Mark Castro and Michael Lopez. This one's scheduled for 8 here on Before the Bell. Castro coming out with some quick lightning rights and lefts, and there a stiff jab to Lopez. Castro said after that knockout in his last fight in September that he saw a lot of shots there for the taking, but it was his dad, Tony, and even Eddie Hearn. They were both telling him, uppercut, uppercut. And he felt that if they saw something, he might as well throw the uppercut. It led to the fight being stopped. You ever hear Eddie Hearn while you're in the ring?
I've never heard him. Sometimes I barely even hear my own coach, just because I'm so locked in the fight. But I mean, Mark must have heard Eddie Hearn pretty clear because he put that guy's lights out.
He's on the attack here against Lopez. Just over 2 minutes to go in the second round. Castro wailing away. Punches, some of them a little wide. He has a compact stance here in front of Lopez. This is the first pro southpaw that Mark Castro is fighting. Castro said that Lopez is pretty fast, but he likes to come forward with his hands down, so that he needs to be ready for Lopez to come forward with a lot of shots. We're seeing it slightly, Jesse. The hands of Lopez, not all the time protecting the chin.
Yeah, I guess that's just maybe how he started his boxing career, and it just became a habit. But against Mark, you better pick those hands up because, like I said, Mark's explosive. You never know what he's gonna pull out the trick book. But don't get me wrong, Lopez came to fight. He's still in there. He's taking Mark's shots pretty fair right now, but it's only a matter of time before they start breaking him down.
Castro's trying to impress here in his second straight 8-round fight. Lopez moving forward with the jab. He's met by Castro. We were saying before the top, right before the start of the ring walks, as Castro puts together a 4-punch combo. He's going to be visiting El Salvador coming up in a couple of weeks as more punches land for Mark Castro and visit with the El Salvadorian boxing president. Good wax Lopez with that body shot. Right uppercut coming inside from Castro. Lopez coming away with a wide left hook. He lands there. Castro looking pretty sharp and focused through 2 rounds. All right, Jesse. Main event coming up later on tonight. Obviously, Estrada, Chocolatito. I asked Alicia this when she was on set earlier, but for someone who has competed in this division, as we take a look at some of the work that Mark Castro did in round 2, who do you think needs to be more aggressive out of the gate? Is it Juan Francisco Estrada or Ramon Gonzalez?
I believe both fighters, but more Chocolatito coming off of the loss in the second fight. I believe he's gonna, try not to leave it in the judge's hands this time and finish it off before the final belt.
Ramon Chocolatito Gonzalez, career win number 52, and trying to exact revenge in a fight that he felt he won back in March of 2021. That is coming up later tonight on DAZN here from Desert Diamond Arena. Start of round 3 between Mark Castro and Michael Lopez. Castro in the red trunks, Lopez in the white. Scheduled for 8 rounds. Lopez is trying to avoid dropping 2 straight fights for the first time in his career. Castro doing a very good job changing levels with his combinations. When he tags him with the right hand, he might have stunned Lopez. Castro trying to work along the ropes now. Jesse, when you were coming up with less than 10 pro fights under your belt, at what level was your desire to impress at versus just finding a way to win?
Yeah, I really decided to impress when I got my first opportunity to fight on television. It was on Premier Boxing Champions or something like that. But I knew that was the opportunity right there to let everyone know who Bam Rodriguez is, and it played out well.
Do you remember what number fight that was?
I think it was only my 6th fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I went straight into 8 rounds for that one.
Castro coming away with a 1-2 combo and another one there. Backs it up with a left hook. He swipes him with a right hook. Castro has found location with several of those punches so far. Solid combinations from Castro. Lopez beating him, though, with a couple of counters. An overhand left. Castro continues to pepper him with those left hands. Left hooks most often there. This is the game plan, though. If his opponent is going to entertain a try and bang with him, Castro said he's ready to roll with that, but this is it. Put together combinations, find landing targets, wear your opponent down, and Mark Castro may be doing just that here in the closing moments of round 3.
This guy's tough. He doesn't want to back down. He's here to prove a point.
Michael Lopez standing tough, trying to trade with Castro. But the 23-year-old from Fresno at the moment controlling the pace. Good shot in there from Lopez as the seconds and the bell sound here in the 3rd round. Taking a look at some of the action from round 3. I think that sequence where Lopez tried to step away, that's where he gets hurt, Jesse, because his hands are down. Something that Castro pointed out.
Yeah, I mean, either way, going backward or forward, he's going to be in trouble with Mark. But I feel like when he came forward is when he started getting caught with more punches.
4th round, gentlemen.
Use your legs.
So here we go with round 4 between Castro and Lopez. Mark Castro entering an 8-0 with 6 knockouts. We're finding a crack in the armor of Michael Lopez near the end of that 3rd round. Lopez 16-3 with 8 knockouts. Castro continues to go to work. We were talking about the education that a young pro like Anthony Herrera was able to receive as he was finding success in 2022. Castro falls along a similar track. First fight as he entered 2022, look, he entered the year 5-0, 5 knockouts. It looked like he was flawless. And then he gets knocked down in his first fight in March against Julian Madera. Finds a way to hang tough, get back through as he lands a 3-punch combo against Lopez. Goes the distance in that fight, goes the distance on a Canelo undercard in May. Then the big knockout in September. Castro said he has learned you can't rush to finish your opponent, and that not every guy is going to be able to get out early in a fight. He said that the main thing that he's learned this year, though, was more about unlearning a lot of the stuff that he was taught in the amateurs. Because the pros are a whole new game of picking up your spots and actually playing mind games. Do you agree with that?
That's what you want to see in a fighter coming up in the pro ranks. You want to see them get better every fight, and that just shows a sign that Mark has the right team behind him, and he's having the right camp. So I'm excited to see what Mark's future holds for him.
The mind games kind of go in line with his style from what you see. How does Castro play mind games, Justin?
He's very unorthodox at times. He's relentless as well, brings up the pressure the whole fight, and it's just hard to fight against a fighter like that. But he's having a lot of success right now against Lopez.
Got smacked with the right hand moments ago. Lopez kind of put his head down and started wailing with overhands, trying to find something that could work here against Mark Castro, 17-time amateur champ. And coming up on Before the Bell, the main event, Austin Ammo Williams going up against Simone Madsen. That's after this one. Then the main card on DAZN at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Castro punching with Lopez on that exchange. It was something Castro did in that September fight against Montiel Mendoza. It led to an uppercut, stopping the fight. And here he just tags away on Michael Lopez, connecting with an impact left hand. And Castro with the onslaught to end things in the fourth. Taking big breaths, exhales in his corner.
Fifth round, back up.
What's going on through the mind of a guy like Michael Lopez right now as he's in that position ahead of the start of round 5?
Like I said, he's probably fell into the mind tricks of Mark Castro. He probably doesn't know how to keep Mark off of him, so it's probably frustrating him.
Lopez coming forward here in the opening moments of the fifth. And more trademarks of Castro putting together combinations and periodically fighting on that back foot, trying to move his record to 9-0.
Lopez has a really great chin, so I feel like if Mark Castro went to the body a little bit more, he'd be able to get him out of there. But a guy like Lopez, they can take the face shots all night and keep coming.
We'll see if that's the approach moving into the fifth. And then the later rounds, the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Can he try and wear him down with the body? Here, the head seems like it's no problem. Castro pushing back Lopez with some shots to the head.
Good body shot right there by Mark.
One coming in close range. Snaps Lopez head back with the jab. Lopez fighting in his 3rd match scheduled for 8 rounds. This is his 2nd U.S. fight. He fought once in Puerto Rico, but the rest of his 17 pro matches have taken place in Mexico, specifically in Mexicali, where he's from. The hands are down from Lopez. They work in the middle of the ring. And Castro finds his seam to get that left hook behind the right hand of Lopez. 1 minute to go here in the fifth. And as Mark Castro is punching in volume in his final fight of 2022. Final 30 seconds here in the fifth. Mark Castro using that lead left hand. And again, the fadeaway punching. Punching on the move. I tell you what, I know you and I talked about at the very top with Chocolatito. There are a number of guys, obviously it's not to the level of Chocolatito, but there are a number of guys on this card who do a good job punching in transition. Castro kind of showcasing that a little bit in the fifth. some of the replays from the 5th round, and again, the punches from Castro with some pinpoint accuracy. They're finding a way to get through the guard of Lopez, whether it's that wind around left hook or the straight punch to the head. Castro facing a durable opponent in Lopez, but these rounds are important. They're invaluable for a young fighter.
Yeah, Marcus, he's doing very well. He just needs to keep it up. Like I said, maybe go to the body a little bit more and break Lopez down. Lopez taking those chin shots all night, so I think a body shot will end it. Body shot will end anybody, so we'll see.
Is that something you're usually able to pick up on your own in real time, or does it have to come from your corner in between rounds that, hey, there's a lot of durability upstairs, you may have to start trying to wear him down downstairs?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it just depends on the fighter, or it depends on your corner as well. I know sometimes I like to do my own thing and I forget about what my coaches tell me, and when I go back to my corner, they check me on what I'm supposed to be doing, so we'll see how this plays out.
It all leaves you in certain moments.
Exactly.
That's one thing that Mark Castro said clicked for him in his last fight. He was able to hear his father's words of advice in the corner, apply it in real time. And it led to a devastating knockout over Montiel Mendoza. He's put together good work here through 5 rounds or so in his final fight of 2022. Michael Lopez on the retreat here in the 6th round. Now coming forward. Castro still throwing his hands. And that left hook finding a home for Mark Castro. Swipes him with the right hand. That landed cleanly. Castro showing no problems so far through with a fight that is scheduled for 8, his second consecutive 8-round fight. 3-punch combo from Castro. Final one, the left hook landing. Back comes Lopez. There's no quit in Michael Lopez, the 27-year-old southpaw. Castro was able to get him to the ropes, but he said, come on, let's go. Let's move back to the middle.
Exactly. Mark wants to fight.
And he launches a right hand back to Lopez. Final 15 seconds here in the 6th round. Solid movement from Castro, able to tag up the defense with a combination. Another stiff jab, snaps the head back of Lopez, and a good 2-punch combo. Fireworks at the end of the 6th round for Mark Castro. All right, we've seen Anthony Herrera already on Before the Bell. We have Mark Castro here. There's Diego Pacheco now on the main card. There are other prospects out of the U.S. stable for Matchroom. Rashad Mahdi comes to mind as well. Which American prospect with Matchroom stands out to you the most?
I'm a fan of Diego Pacheco. He's very lengthy, very tall. He's big for the weight class. Every time he steps in that ring, it's excitement. So I can't wait to see his fight.
That is coming up a little bit later on tonight. Pacheco and Luna on the main card in Diego Pacheco's first regional title defense. Start of the 7th round here on Before the Bell. On our 3rd match of 4 scheduled on Before the Bell. Mark Castro, Michael Lopez. Castro in the red trunks, Lopez in the white. And it has been all Mark Castro. Tough to see other than Castro at the moment pitching a shutout on the scorecards. Lopez connects with a right uppercut. And Castro punching with Lopez here the first 35 seconds of the 7th round. Jesse, you've continued to say maybe since the 4th round, hey, the durability is there. You may need to go to the body if you're Mark Castro to try and break him down a little bit. Hasn't gone to that direction just yet. Is it, I don't want to call it, stubbornness isn't the right word, but the 7th, the 8th round, is this the type of time where maybe Castro or his corner said, all right, your punches are obviously looking crisp, they're looking sharp, they're accurate, but now you need to put the foot on the gas here?
Yeah, I've noticed Mark has been going to the body with the right hand, but Lopez, he's even able to take those, so credit to Lopez, he's just a tough fighter overall. There's fighters that you just can't get out there no matter what you throw at them. So, I mean, maybe if Mark picked it up a little bit, put the foot on the pedal, he might be able to get him out of there, but Lopez is tough.
Lopez has been stopped once before in his career, again, 16-3. Castro continuing to throw some combos to the head of Castro. To Lopez, rather. Less than a minute to go in the 7th round. Bam Rodriguez with us here. We had Alicia Baumgardner with us earlier on Before the Bell. Richardson Hitchin scheduled to join us at the end of Before the Bell as well. Mark Castro, who's dictated this fight in the middle of the ring, now working along the ropes, and he slugs a big right hand against Lopez. Another one.
Lopez might be stunned.
It looks like a little wobbly on his feet, near the ropes again, and Castro may be smelling blood. Another big side swipe with the right hand from Castro. Overhand right now from Mark. Lopez is off balance. Those right hands finding a home for Mark Castro here in the 7th round. Lopez going down in the final seconds of the 7th, and out comes the mouthpiece. They're going to have to put that back in. He seems like he wants to continue, but he also wants to get some time to catch his breath. And it's going to intertwine with the end of the round as well. An exclamation point there at the end of the 7th. So a 7th round knockdown for Mark Castro. All that punishment piling up here for Michael Lopez.
Exactly, he looks fatigued. I think Mark should jump on him this last round and get the job done. I believe Lopez is ready to go. Mark has 3 minutes to take him out.
For the type of year that we were talking about with Mark Castro, how not every fighter needs to get checked out via a stoppage. Be maybe a little bit more disciplined. It's more of a mind game here. You have one round after what transpired here at the end of the 7th. If you're Castro, if you're his father Tony as well in the corner, what's being discussed?
I would tell Mark, go for it. He just dropped Lopez at the end of the 7th. Looks like Lopez is ready to go, so I think Mark should put his foot on the pedal.
Here we go, 8th and final round, off a 7th round knockdown by Mark Castro. See if he can close the show against Michael Lopez early, or will he go the distance? Either way, it has been a fantastic closeout to a 2022 for Mark Castro so far.
Mark also has to be a little careful because Lopez as well, he knows it's the final round. It's his last chance to show something, so he's going to come with everything.
Castro saying aggressive, staying consistent with his combinations. It's the right hand that continues to hurt Lopez. Oh, straightened him out with a right uppercut. Lopez is back. Castro moving forward and continuing to launch right hands that have been very effective against Michael Lopez.
Another right hand by Mark.
Castro is evading any punch that Lopez is throwing and then following it up with a multiple count of punches. Trying to go to the body there with the left hook. Credit Michael Lopez for standing tough here in the 8th round, trying to make it out with the full 8 rounds under him against Mark Castro. Saw how dejected, how frustrated he was for going down, needing that moment to catch his breath in the 7th. Here he comes inside and tries to trade with Castro. Mark moving around, circling. Here we go, a fight in the middle of the ring. Castro, if he's going to try and impress, go for that knockout, it seems like he's just going to be doing it his way.
Exactly. I believe Mark, he might have seen that Lopez is very tough, probably won't get out of there in the final minute, so he's just playing with him, he's boxing him, playing it smart, not risking getting caught by a lucky punch.
4-punch combo there from Castro. Final 25 seconds here in the 8th and final round. Mark Castro with a workshop on fast hands, combinations, non-stop action against Michael Lopez. And here comes Lopez. Again, the Mexican heart rising up, and he finds a way to go the distance against Mark Castro, but overall, this was a very sound and impressive performance to close out what has been a terrific 2022 for Mark Castro. Castro putting in the work. Got 4 matches here in 2022. He comes away victorious in all of them. All of them a little bit different. We saw something different in each of them, but throughout the year, it's all been impressive. And that's good to see. Michael Lopez smiling at the end here after 8 tough rounds where at times he was a pinata against Mark Castro, especially with that right hand, Jesse.
Exactly. I see a knot on the back of his head. That just goes to show the damage that Mark did. Great fight by both fighters, though. Props to both fighters. Props to Lopez for going the whole 8 rounds, and Mark, props to him for looking good the whole 8 rounds. Very great fight.
It's highly likely Castro will be improving to 9-0. Wait to see what the judges say, but it was a dominant performance for the 23-year-old. All right, 9 fights in for Mark Castro, and he could be on the verge of improving to 9-0. 2 8-round fights now under his belt as well. The first, he stops his opponent in impressive style. Here he goes the distance in arguably equally impressive style, controlling the way the entire time against a tough Mexican in Michael Lopez. Let's make it official as we go into the ring with David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of action here at the Desert Diamond Arena, all 3 judges scored this bout identically, 80-71. All 3 for your winner by unanimous decision. He's still undefeated, Mark Castro.
decision victory over Michael Lopez as Castro improves to 9-0. And he goes 4-0 here in 2022. See the two flags, El Salvador and Mexico. There's his father, his trainer, Tony, manager, Keith Connolly in the ring as well. And Team Castro posing for photos after another victory here. 9-0 now. He's Mark Castro. We have Mark Castro approaching 10 fights now as a young pro, moving on in 2023. What do you think the next step is for a young, impressive professional like him?
I think one more fight at 8 rounds and then bump it up to 10 rounds. You know, maybe even go for an international title and end 2023 off with one fight away from a world title.
Well, Mark Castro moving into 2023 in style, as is Bam Rodriguez, going back down to 112 pounds. Bam, thank you so much for joining us here on Estrada Chocolatitos Before the Bell. We look forward to talking to you in 2023, and hopefully when we do, you'll be Fighter of the Year.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Congrats on a fantastic 2022, man. We'll talk to you soon. Jesse Bam Rodriguez joining us here on Before the Bell as we take a look at some of the action in this fight between Mark Castro and Michael Lopez. And the 7th round was the time where Lopez had to take a knee, taking too much, receiving too much punishment, we should say. But there is effective work with that right hand from Mark Castro. You heard Jesse Bam Rodriguez say it a lot. Maybe focus a little more attention on the body. There was some attention to the body in the second half of the fight. But overall, Mark Castro demonstrating that he can do it. He can be effective here in 8-round fights, go the distance, and get the job done. And wearing his opponent down. This was the end of the 7th round. And then in the 8th, perhaps at the very beginning, going for the knockout, realizing that Lopez was a very tough and durable fighter there. And he's able to continue his solid work, put on a clinic against Michael Lopez to get the win. Jesse Bam Rodriguez joined us. Our hero, Richardson Hitchens, the 15-0 Richardson Hitchens. Welcome to Before the Bell. This is your first foray on this show. Pretty new to Matchroom overall. First couple of months with this new promotion. Welcome, first and foremost. What are your overall impressions?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
No problem. What are your overall impressions your first few months here with Matchroom?
Oh yeah, I'm just happy to be here on this side. I feel like I'm getting treated well so far, and we have big plans, so I'm just excited for the future.
All right, before we take a look at what's coming up on Before the Bell, Austin Amon Williams is going to be in action. You're going to be helping me call here. I'm really looking forward to that. Your Matchroom debut, November the 12th in Cleveland on the Love Spark card. You dispatch of Yomar Alamo. Luna is going to be an opponent coming up on the main card, but you get the stoppage there. I thought it was probably the best performance of anyone on that card. Overall, how would you assess your performance 3 weeks ago?
I thought it was a great performance. I mean, as a fighter, I always think I could do better, but like I said, I believe I'm the best 140 fighter. 140. I'm the best 140 in the world. So in the 140 division, I think it's a lot of talent, but I think I'll be the one to go to the pinnacle and prevail out of all the top fighters.
Leading up to that card, a lot of chirping between you and Montana Love ahead of fight night. Love falls against Stevie Spark. You felt like that was going to be a fight that would be lining up after the Cleveland show, November the 12th. Is that still something that you want to get done in the future?
I mean, Montana Love is not a strong, I don't think he's a strong name in the division. I think I kind of expected for Steve Sparks to give him trouble and potentially beat him, and that's what happened. If me and Montana Love can make a fight, I think it should be in New York. I think it'll be a sold-out crowd, and I think just because of the bad blood, it will be great just to bring that fight to the big city. And hopefully he agrees. Everybody always asks me, do I want to fight Montana Love, but they never ask me. And like I said, I think it'll be easy work, and I'm ready. I'm prepared to make that fight if that's what's presented to us.
New York City, is that a destination? Obviously, it's your hometown. Is that something that you want to have happen in the near future? Be able to fight in your backyard? Yeah, like I said, New York loved me. I love New York. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised, and I think that me coming to New York City and showcasing my talent, it'll be great for the city, for the young kids coming up, and just for everybody, just to see some motivation. And it will be a great moment for me. I haven't fought in New York since, I want to say, 2018, 2017, so it'll be great to come back home. I tell you what, a guy like Richardson Hitchens fighting at a place maybe like the theater at Madison Square, that sticks out to me. That it would be a packed room. The energy when that room is packed is incomparable. It's terrific. And for a hometown fighter competing in that venue, it would be absolutely bonkers. This fight, or I should say this main card with the main event, Estrada, Chocolatito, I get a lot of answers when I ask fighters, hey, what do you think about this fight? Or are these guys that you focused on growing up in the lighter weights? And those lighter fighters, they say, no, I really didn't. I actually watched the heavyweights. I always gravitated toward them. But everyone knows Chocolatito. Everyone knows Juan Francisco Estrada. What stands out to you when you watch those two compete? I like Chocolatito. I heard about him. I think he was undefeated, and he fought in the Garden. And when I first heard he was undefeated, I was actually at the fight, and he took his first loss that night. But I still paid attention. He's very technical, very crafty fighter, and he has a lot of experience, a former pound-for-pound fighter. And I'm excited for him to see him back in action tonight, and this should be a great fight because it's a trilogy. All right, let's see what is coming up here as we are one fight away from closing out before the bell, then getting to the main card on DAZN at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Beatriz Ferreira opening up before the bell with a stoppage over Carice Brown. Anthony Herrera coming away with his fourth career his third career knockout against Christian Sullivan. And then you just saw Mark Castro outbox Michael Lopez. Seemed like there were moments where Lopez was on the ropes, Castro was on the verge of the knockout, but Lopez proved to be a very tough opponent. Regardless, Castro gets the win. He does it in dominant fashion. And Mark Castro has joined us here on the Before the Bell set. Mark, congratulations on another victory, now 9-0.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Throughout that fight, we saw you dictate the pace. You were tagging him with right hands to the face. Moments maybe where you thought you could stop the fight. Were there any moments where you felt like you could potentially end things early?
I think in the 7th round, I felt like I thought the fight was over. The ref kind of because he kind of just gave up and just was turning his bed, and saying no more, no more. And then I'm surprised it wasn't a stoppage right there.
Take a look at some of the action in this fight, the latter rounds. That happened at the very end of the 7th, what you were describing, Mark. Start of the 8th round, what was the mindset? Was it to go for the stoppage or continue doing what you were doing?
Just continue getting the rounds, getting the most fit. Don't get reckless in there. And that's what I did in there.
Did you feel his durability?
Yes, he was there to fight. You see right there that it looked the ref waved it up. It looked like the ref waved it off right there.
Did you think it was over?
He started the motion.
Well, he picks up the win at 9-0. Richardson, I know you were watching that offset with Mark Castro. What'd you think of his performance?
What I picked up from Castro tonight, I think that he was very loose and fluid with his punches, so he was able to throw a lot of combinations that come from all angles, going to the body, up and down. It was a great performance, and he never really took himself out of range. He was always right in position to come right back with a combination, and I think it was a great performance. He took some good shots and gave plenty more back.
Did you feel like you executed your game plan to the fullest, Mark?
Oh yeah, definitely. Get the rounds and don't get reckless in there. Catch shots, work for it, and he's gonna give out. And I felt like he did give out. Yeah.
This kind of summed up the entire 2022 for you, because we were talking about earlier in the week the lessons that you learned over the last 4 matches, and the last 2 fights felt like everything has really come together, and you're on a track where you are really impressing even when you're getting stoppages and now going the distance. How do you feel about that?
I feel good because I put in the work in the gym every day, and it's showing, and it's finally showing, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
And now a trip to El Salvador, correct?
Yeah, Yeah, December, late December.
Very nice. That is with the boxing president of El Salvador. Much deserved trip for him and a much deserved victory. Mark, congratulations again, and happy holidays to you as we close out 2022.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mark Castro joining us here on set on Before the Bell as we get closer to the main event here on Before the Bell. It's Austin Ammo Williams going up against Simone Madsen in this main event. Richardson, what do you know about Ammo Williams and what the body of work he's been able to put together?
What I know about Ammo Williams, I know that he has a lot of attitude. He's a fighter that takes a lot of risks, and he go for the kill. I've actually trained with Ammo Williams, I want to say a few months ago in Florida when he was training with Kevin Cunningham, and I got to watch him spar. And he was definitely a great young fighter, and I'm excited to see him fight tonight, and I think this should be a step up for him, so I'm excited to tune in.
You excited to call this fight? You're on the microphone, man.
Yes, excited to call the fight, yes, and see, Ammo putting a terrific show.
This is some of the footage from the weigh-in yesterday. Big thing that stands out with Ammo Williams is how he flips a switch. I mean, he was on stage, all smiles, and then something just triggers him, pounding his chest for the stare down, and it looked like he was ready to explode again in this stare down. The jaws clenched, and this isn't the first time we've seen this from Ammo Williams and lead up to a fight. It's a different zone when fighters are like that. What did you see in Ammo Williams' eyes?
Like I said, I think he's a fighter with a lot of attitude, and I think that mentally he comes for the kill. So that's something that suits him. I think that's a strong suit, and he's looking to use that in the ring.
All right, the fighters are ready to go in our main event here on Before the Bell. Richardson, you ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Let's go into the ring with Dave Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest is another battle of two undefeated fighters as they go 10 rounds in the middleweight division. Set to make his ring walk, Simone Vikingo Madsen.
There is 27-year-old Simone Madsen out of Cancun, Mexico. And he's originally from Horsens, Denmark, and is 13-0 with 10 knockouts. He last fought over a year ago. It was October of 2021, where Madsen earned a 7th-round knockout over Celine Martinez. Madsen said he took this fight on short notice, but he's happy he received the opportunity because he feels he is ready for the challenge.
And now making his way to the ring, here is the undefeated Austin Ammo Williams.
Well, he's trailed by his dog, Prince Ziggy Williams. 26-year-old Austin Ammo Williams. Ready to light the stage yet again. 12-0, 9 knockouts, coming off a unanimous decision win over Kieran Conway back in September. He has a top 5 ranking in the WBA, a potential title eliminator with Felix Cash on the horizon, and overall, a chance to ascend to the championship level at middleweight. He said 2023 is a huge year, but Madsen is the obstacle currently in front of him. He said, we will see the same dangerous, explosive Ammo tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Desert Diamond Arena here in Glendale, Arizona, live on DAZN, we are set to go with our next bout of the evening, and it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Hennessy, Never Stop, Never Settle, AutoZone, Bet Online, and Stagefront. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this contest from ringside. From Arizona, Dennis O'Connell. From North Carolina, Kevin Scott. And also from Arizona, Chris Wilson. And at the sound of the bell, your 3rd man in the ring from Arizona, referee Wes Melton. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing scheduled in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the zebra print with the black stripe. He scaled 160.6 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one. 13 fights, 13 victories, 10 of them coming by way of knockout. Originally from Horsens, Denmark, and now living, training, and fighting out of Cancun, Quintana Roo, Mexico, please welcome Simon Vikingo Madsen. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the white and the gold. This southpaw scaled already 162.1 pounds. His professional record, also a perfect one. 12 fights, 12 victories, 9 of them coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, here is the reigning and the undefeated WBA International Middleweight Champion, Austin Ammo Williams.
Fighters, chief seconds, went over the rules in the dressing room. Check these trunks. They're both good. You guys can work right in there. Protect yourself all the time. Obey my commands. Touch them up, bomb at the bell.
Wes Melton, the referee for this one, the main event here on Before the Bell in Glendale. Along with Richardson Hitchens, I'm Justin Shackle. Fourth and final bout ahead of the main card on DAZN tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, for Estrada Chocolatito. Here it is Austin Ammo Williams and Simone Madsen. Williams 12-0, 9 KOs in the gold and silver trunks. Madsen 13-0, 10 knockouts in the zebra trunks. Not much known about Madsen. When you have an undefeated opponent, Richardson, you don't have too much footage on him. Not much is known about him. How do you approach it in the opening round?
I think that's when the sweet science come into play, your technical abilities, your fundamentals, and you just try to stay sharp and just apply the experience you have.
Madsen coming forward, throwing some right hands. And Madsen, 14 months removed from his last fight. It was a victory in Cancun. He's originally from Denmark, but he lives and trains in Cancun. He visited Cancun, fell in love with the place, fell in love with a woman there, and they were married, and he hasn't really looked back. So
I think right now, Ammo Williams has to make an adjustment to his right hand because he got caught with a few right hands from the opening bell. So I'm looking for him to make adjustments.
Needs to be a little higher?
Just staying away from the right hand, taking away his right hand, staying out the line. Maybe a little more head movement.
Williams, the 26-year-old southpaw, and went the distance in 10 rounds over Kieran Conway. First time that he went 10 rounds. First time he really needed to go 10 rounds. And Williams, an explosive, fan-friendly style with those 9 knockouts. First combination of the fight there from Ammo. Madsen not afraid to let his hands go here against Ammo Williams, and he's working to the body. Williams said on Thursday, this has to be a statement. I need to show Felix Cash what he's really signing up for. Eddie Hearn said earlier this week that both Williams and Felix Cash, they agreed in principle to meet up in the early part of 2023. Cash is scheduled to fight next week on the Warrington Lopez card, and here Williams is with Madsen. Williams said he's definitely not overlooking Madsen, even with Cash on the horizon. Close range left hand from Ammo that comes through.
10 seconds, stop at the bell.
So very much a feel-out round, get-to-know-you type round in the first between Ammo Williams and Simone Madsen.
Weird. Come on. Great. You for real? So maybe just a cable?
We can help you.
Welcome to America's #1 battery destination. AutoZone, your battery solution.
Atrás, con mucho paso, cambiando de acción y repítale la derecha 3 veces, ¡pra, pra! Para que la coja sabrosa. All right? Vamos, vamos a coger.
Well, Simone Madsen's trainer, Osvaldo Carrasco, pretty animated in the corner, trying to light up his pupil a little bit, continue the motivation as we get going with the second round between Williams and Madsen. 2 undefeated fighters here in the main event up before the bell, ahead of Estrada Chocolatito 3.
I believe that Am will just have to keep boxing and keep making adjustments as the fight go, and Maximo, he just had to keep putting the pressure and just keep showing that Am is here to really compete.
Madsen showed that in the first round, not exactly getting the attention of Am Williams, but throwing hands, showing that he's going to not back down. He's here to win. Madsen with the left hand. Am trying to establish a jab. He's moving to his left. So many times we hear about southpaws angling to the right, staying on the outside of that lead foot with their opponent. You saw Am Williams kind of go the other way there. What was he trying to do?
Sometimes you can go that way just to set up a certain shot. Giving a guy lateral movement. When you're a great fighter, you got to know how to fight going both ways. But traditionally, as a southpaw, you'll learn to go to your right.
Left hand reaches from Williams. Madsen trying to come back with a right hand.
And if I'm Am Williams, I know that this guy don't really have a good jab, and I know that his only success he's having is with the right hand, and that's the only adjustment I'll really be looking to make, just to take away the right hand.
And yet, Williams is moving to his left, kind of toward that right hand, no?
Yeah, and I believe that's why Madsen is having success at times.
Williams trying to work the body, pepper him with some jabs. 2 punches to the body. Williams trying to stay light on his feet here in the second round. The combo upstairs, most of those were largely blocked by Madsen. Madsen has fought exclusively in Mexico as a pro, so again, we need the eye test to see how his 13-0 record was created. He eats a left hand coming over the top from Williams, but he continues to throw it as Madsen. And a right uppercut scrapes Madsen as the second round comes to a close. Taking a look at some of the action from round 2. Again, Madsen not deterred from coming forward, but in this round, Richardson, it feels like he was met with some more contact from Am.
Yeah, he's walking in, and eventually, if Am times something right, he can possibly walk into something big.
You see Am's corner, Dwight Pratchett, the former pro, Eric Woods as well. This is after Am Williams spent some time with Kevin Cunningham. He's gone back to Dwight Pratchett as his lead trainer. And Williams going for his 4th win here at 2022. As we get ready to go with round 3. Williams in the silver, gold, and white trunks, and the zebra trunks for Simone Madsen, 27-year-old out of Cancun by way of Denmark.
And one thing about Williams that I know, he's always in shape, so I know he can keep up his pace for the entire fight.
I think that may have been one of the questions people were wondering leading up to his September fight with Kieran Conway. Could he last and be at a certain level for all 10 rounds? And he proved that he could. He put Conway down in the process as well, broke his nose even in a unanimous decision.
Yeah, because when we was in Florida, I was watching him and he was sparring, and the gym was really, really extremely hot down there in Florida, and he was able to keep up the pace for the whole sparring match. So I believe that he's definitely in shape for his big step up right here.
Places like South Florida, places like Houston, Texas, the humidity is off the charts. Is that something that you're kind of looking for as a fighter?
Yes, I think that the heat definitely pushes you to go to be on the next level as far as being in shape, and that helps the conditioning, and it should suit him and help him go to the next level so he can last in this fight.
Madsen again out of Cancun, has the high elevation there, or at least higher than certain cities. Good 2-punch combo from Williams. Both going through the guard of Madsen here in round 3. And Williams pinpoint the location a little bit more crisp here in the 3rd round.
Keep him up, okay? All right, let's go.
Telling Madsen to keep his hands up.
If Madsen had a good jab, I think he'll make the fight just a little bit more difficult for Williams, but he's kind of walking without a good jab, but he's having success with the right hand. So
yeah, comes in with a right cross moments ago. It's true. It feels like he's entering a fight without his top sword, so to speak.
Yes, and the jab will make it way easier, because you look at Emma Williams' guard, he has his right hand down, and the jab will go right through.
Williams lowering his hands. Has to crack the guard of Madsen with the left hand. Madsen on the move. That one reaches through from Emma Williams. And a left hook from Emma. Moving Madsen toward the ropes. Final 10 seconds here in the 3rd round. Right hand to the body.
We're done. We're done.
And Williams looking pretty comfortable in the 3rd round. There you see his dog doesn't go anywhere without Prince Ziggy Williams. Did you see Prince Ziggy in the gym with Ammo?
No, I didn't get to see the dog, but it was dope to see him walk out with the dog. So that's cool.
Some of the action from the 3rd round here. That right hand, like Richardson said, working for Madsen, but he could be looking a little bit better if the jab was there as he moves it with virtually nothing in front of Emma Williams.
Yeah,
very dangerous.
The jab was set up a lot more to the body, and it was set up the right hand even more.
Back up.
So it's the start of the 4th round between Williams and Madsen. Again, our main featured bout here on Before the Bell. And scraping right uppercut from Williams. Madsen trying to pump away with the right hand. Main card beginning at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on DAZN. It'll kick off with Joselito Velasquez and Christopher Rosales at 112 pounds. Good crossroads fight there. Williams establishing the jab. There's a rare jab from Madsen.
Yeah, and with a guy with a guard like Madsen, you don't want to really put too much on your jab. You just want to kind of keep it in his face and keep his hands at home to set up other shots. And I think that's what Ammo's trying to do, just keep a jab in his face and just go around and set up other big shots.
Ammo looking to launch that left hand after they get a little physical here in the mid-portion of the 4th round. And blood may be spilling here from the nose of Simone Madsen. Try and get a closer look there, but yes, blood splashing away from Madsen on a left-hand exchange. And Ammo finding a rhythm, snapping back the head of Madsen, who counters with a right. This is where Williams can't get too anxious.
The shot I think Williams should start going down to is the straight left to the straight left to the body. I think that's a shot right there that is going to break Madsen down.
Goes with the right hook to the body and a combo back upstairs. Little heel tap and another combo. Wes Milton says knock it off. Ammo Williams has this ability, has the ability to put on a show and continue to keep his eye on the objective. We're starting to see Madsen seemingly breathe a little bit heavier here as he continues to eat shots upstairs from Austin Ammo Williams.
Let him go. Work out of there. Work out. We got time. We got time.
Williams taking his foot off the brake just a little bit. Darting left hand. Smacks Madsen.
Madsen seemed to be breaking down a little bit. He's taking a lot more punishment now.
This was a very tough round for Madsen here in the 4th. The nosebleed, the damage done upstairs, and Austin Ammo Williams looking, feeling good through 4 rounds. As Madsen gets his nose tended to some of the showmanship from Ammo Williams here in the 4th. It's always good to have fun in the ring. You want to have it.
Yeah, it's definitely. And he's comfortable. He's having fun, and he's starting to get in his rhythm.
So we'll see what it leads to in round 5. Wes Milton having some of Madsen's blood on the back of his shirt. How much punishment, well, one, can this type of offense sustain itself for Ammo Williams, and how much of it can Madsen take moving forward as we begin the 5th round here in our main event on Before the Bell. Right out of the gate, a right hook lands from Williams.
And what's looking bad right now for Madsen is that Ammo Williams starting to come forward. He's starting to walk him down. Where in the beginning, he was kind of the fighter coming forward. So that's showing signs of him breaking down.
A good left cross from Williams. Man, that one punch that you suggested, that left hand to the body, we haven't seen much of it, if at all, from Williams.
Yeah, I think that's something he should definitely put in his arsenal. Especially with a guy with a high guard like this, you want to go around and go straight down the middle to straight left to the body. It's kind of like a jab to the body with an orthodox fighter.
Just looking at the setup right now from Madsen, like the territory's there. It's open. Madsen now coming forward, lowering his head just a bit.
There you go.
It's that left hand to the body. And a right hook from Williams. Matches it up with a solid combination upstairs. Oh, overhand left connects from Ammo. Hand lands by Madsen. This one's scheduled for 10. But only twice has Ammo Williams had to go past 6 rounds in his pro career. Left hand to the body again. There have been 2 accurate left hands to the body from Ammo Williams here this round.
And if Ammo keeps going back down to the body, I believe that later on he can stop him.
Here's the right hand, and another left hook comes through from Williams. Goes back downstairs to the left. The showmanship continuing from Ammo Williams. Williams looking and feeling good here to close out 2022. Trying to continue it, perhaps pick up knockout number 10 as well in the process.
Madsen body language is just looking like he don't want to be here no more.
Slumped over a bit. Seems like he's breathing a bit heavier. And he eats another left hand from Williams.
He just needs a little more help.
And this is Williams' 4th fight in 2022. He said he always wants to be this active, even and especially with the high ranking now. Ranked 5th by the WBA. He's not a fighter, in his words, who gets a high ranking and is only active once or twice a year. He wants to continue to stay this busy, as he stayed busy in the 5th with his hands. How about that side by side? Taking a look at some of the action from round 5. And Williams, at certain points, just teeing off on Madsen. That left hand has found its target multiple times upstairs. We saw what Richardson was suggesting come to fruition in the 5th round. Few left hands to the body by Ammo Williams. And we were talking about respecting an undefeated fighter, trying to figure out what he actually is in the opening round. That's where the sweet science comes in. It felt like after that 1 round, Williams knew exactly what he needed to do or what he could do here against Simone Madsen, as the referee encouraged him to get his hands up here in the start of round 6. Madsen trying to fight through it here. Took some punishment in rounds 4 and 5.
And if Madsen don't show that he wants to be in this fight, I think somebody will be looking to stop it. Either the referee, the doctor, or his corner.
Raise your head up. Get pulled down, okay?
And the blood continues to flow from the nose of Simone Madsen. Been trying to stay undefeated as he takes a big step up in competition, but so far it has been Ammo Williams dictating this fight. Crowds filed in nicely here on the verge of the main card beginning. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We've really come up to the start of the main card, about a half hour away, leading up to Estrada Chocolatito 3 tonight here in Glendale, Arizona. Williams trying to experiment with a left uppercut moments ago. Now, yeah, the body language from Madsen kind of all over the place here.
Work out in there, work out.
Austin Ammo Williams taking that big step forward here in 2022, like Mark Castro did, who we saw the fight prior, like Anthony Herrera did, but here for Williams. He began the year with a TKO over Javier Maciel, a fighter with nearly 50 career matches. And I was at the Ali Pally in February, then followed that up with a first-round TKO against Cordell Booker, who was then, at that point, undefeated. And many thought that that was going to be the most grueling and toughest test for Ammo Williams. He stopped him in the first.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised when he stopped Cordell Booker. I thought it was going to be a really, really competitive fight, and he managed to get him out of there early.
Picked up his first regional title in that fight, and then going the distance with Kieran Conway. A hard-fought win over 10 rounds in September. Here he is, controlling the flow of this match with Simone Madsen.
Good jab by Madsen.
Williams scaling back ever so slightly here in the 6th round, but not enough where you'd give the round to Madsen, that's for sure. Left hand upstairs by Williams, and we are through 6. Start of the 7th round between Ammo Williams and Simone Madsen. It is our main event here on Before the Bell, ahead of the main card on DAZN coming up later. Williams trying to improve his record to 13-0 as he looks for a potential title shot in 2023. Came into this fight ranked 5th by the WBA, and he's taken it to Simone Madsen, whose undefeated record could be endangered here. 13-0 at 10 knockouts. But he has had...
And every time Madsen throws his jab, he has success. He's connecting and touching something, but he's just not using it.
It's been one at a time, if that. He's rarely doubled it up. He's rarely ever thrown it. Here Madsen comes close. Bombards him with a couple of combos. It was good movement from Madsen.
Yeah.
Let go of that head. Let go of that head
now. Ammo able to angle himself nicely as the southpaw and sort of tee off on Madsen, who isn't throwing anything right now against the ropes. Ammo Williams continuing to work.
Ammo shows me glimpses of Errol Spence. When I look at him, he shows me kind of just that roughness and that inside game of the same kind of similar to Errol Spence. And even when he go down to the body.
You mean with single shots or more with combos?
I don't know, just finding right there in that mid-range, you go into the body, it just shows me a glimpse of Errol Spence. And I could tell Ammo's improving each and every time.
What's he like in the gym?
Being in the gym with him, he was just focused. He looked like he was focused and just getting ready for that fight in September and staying focused and sparring, kind of real dramatic in the gym. But it's cool to be. It was cool.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Giving off some energy.
Yeah, he had a lot of energy with him.
That's what someone said about you, actually, ahead of a show in Cleveland. Khalil Coe. I asked him, what's Richardson Hitchens like behind the scenes? He's like, he keeps it loose. He's goofy in a way, in a good way, but he keeps the atmosphere loose when we're all training hard.
Yeah, me and Khalil trained for a long time in the gym now, and I just like to be in the gym having fun. I talk a lot of smack to the guys, and that's just my competitive nature, and I'm just, enjoying it every moment in boxing. I'm young, and I just like having fun with it.
Final seconds of the 7th round here, and Ammo Williams and Simone Madsen getting through 7. Williams dictating the pace, but we saw glimpses of some good action from Simone Madsen. Those left hands that Williams was throwing earlier, it seemed like they were getting blocked more and more in the last 2 rounds by Madsen. That is never never a good sign.
No, good sign. Yeah.
When you're playing the Walrus in the corner.
But he's still in there, though.
Madsen's nose getting bloodied up earlier in this fight from Ammo Williams. He was trying to take care of business here against Madsen, set up a battle with Felix Cash earlier this year. We move on to round 8. Good movement combo from Williams. Trying to stay lighter on his feet. Madsen's shown improved energy over the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, he seems like a guy that could take a lot of good headshots, so I think Ammo should keep staying down to the body. I think that's what's going to get him out of there eventually if he keep going down to the body.
Why is it so tough for fighters to stay consistent with the body work?
Because a lot of times it get boring, and then when you're going down to the body, sometimes you don't see the effects right there when you want it. So you hit a guy with a good headshot, you know, kind of mentally he's feeling it, but a body shot you really can't tell. So some get in there, some don't.
Who are some of the better body punchers that you've come to admire as a younger pro?
My favorite body puncher of all time is Mike McCullum. I think he's one of them guys that know how to sneak good body shots. Floyd Mayweather also was a great body puncher.
The damage isn't evident immediately, but it's the whole point. Try to wear your opponent down, able to bank some momentum, break him down, and then go for the stoppage later on. Good right uppercut from Williams, goes back downstairs, but again, to that right side. Those punches have found a home, but they made much of an impact. Williams slowing down just a bit, but when he's throwing, he's continuing his accuracy. Again, nice left hand soars in from Williams.
Williams throws in volumes a lot. He's really ever only throwing one punch. Always 2s and 3s.
The nose of Madsen still bleeding. In the final seconds of final 30 seconds of round 8. Move downstairs, following another combo from Williams. Austin Ammo Williams trying to take down his second undefeated opponent. I mentioned Cordell Booker in that first round stoppage earlier this year. Madsen could be his second, but he comes alive in the final seconds of the 8th. See Eddie Hearn telling Austin Ammo Williams, keep him up, keep those hands up.
Yeah, Ammo should, after this, I think he should definitely go back to the gym and keep focusing on his defense, because he has some holes, but as long as he keep working on it, it'll get better.
As we see some of the action from round 8. Consistent displays this fight of good footwork, snapping shots to the head, and he's also found a home with that right hand to the body. As we get ready for the 9th round here on Before the Bell. Richardson, did you sense a moment earlier in this fight where perhaps Ammo Williams could have pressed on the gas a little bit more and ended things?
Yeah, I think probably the 6th round, he could have probably stepped on the gas a little bit more. And even right now, I think that Madsen is still breaking down, but it seemed like Madsen seemed to find a second win. But I mean, you never know. It's still 2 more rounds, and maybe Ammo can get him out of there with a good shot.
And to that point, at the same time, if there was the opening, it seems like these rounds are very important for Williams because he normally doesn't go too deep into fights. He's averaging just under 4 rounds per fight.
Yeah, I think he's totally in control of the fight. I think he's dominating the fight right now. And right now it's just about closing the show and making that statement.
He's been doing it. Maybe like Mark Castro, maybe not one singular moment, but the volume punching saying it all for Austin Ammo Williams. Also the nose of Simone Madsen saying a lot of it too.
Yeah, but Madsen's staying in the ring, and that's what he should be trying to do, not just trying to quit. He still got an undefeated record, and he still has something to prove also.
Whoa. Back up. You understand? Go.
Madsen on the attack. Williams moving his feet. And then trying to work a combo to the body. Ammo letting his hands go upstairs with just over a minute to go in round number 9. This is the 4th fight of 2022 for Ammo Williams. Began at Alexander Palace over in England in February. Here, the year ends in Glendale, Arizona. Said he and Eddie Hearn have discussed the fact that he wants to stay this busy. Being this busy gives him a reason to be active. Gus Milton gets in between these two fighters, and he's going to dock a point.
That's exactly what he did not need.
So Madsen has a point taken away from him, and the gap only grows larger between he and Ammo Williams. Coming forward as the seconds wind down in the 9th. Their right hand, they've rocked Madsen, and the volume punching on full display for Ammo Williams. Williams showcasing his skills here in the desert for third 9.
Listen, this is the last round, okay? Let's keep it clean, all right? Last round, we're gonna catch him up. Last round, show me something.
Taking a look at the action in the 9th round, and it was pretty blatant. Madsen with the forearm right to the face of Ammo Williams. The reason why he was docked a point by Wes Milton.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 10th and final round.
26-year-old Austin Ammo Williams. He believes he is on track for a world title opportunity in the second half of 2023, but he has to stay on track and keep building momentum toward when that call comes. Here, taking care of business of Simone Madsen, an undefeated fighter out of Cancun, Mexico. He had power to his record with those 10 knockouts in 13 matches. And here he has been no match for Ammo Williams so far. One thing we will say, and Richardson, you've hinted to it multiple times here, Madsen is durable.
Yeah, very durable, man. He keeps his hands up, but he's took a lot of punishment this fight, but he was able to stay in.
And again, the rounds for Ammo Williams, so important right now at this stage in his career. We can go go the distance in back-to-back 10-round fights. One fight closer than the other, that one being with Conway. This one, he's done a good job separating himself from Madsen. But either way, 20 rounds combined on the back end of a 4-fight year. They're going to go a long way for the future.
Yeah, he's gaining great experience. That's what he needs, especially he's a top 5 for the WBA, so he needs all the rounds he can get, especially in these big step-ups.
Anthony Williams ended tonight with 12 fights as a pro, over 44 rounds. So, again, this pickup of 10 rounds, if he doesn't get a stoppage over the next 60 seconds. And even so, he's gone the distance. Moving a bit, again, letting the hands go. Jab's been there for much of the fight. Coming in as they butt heads. Nothing too severe. Roughly 30 seconds left here in this 10-round contest. And Austin Ammo Williams trying to close the show here on Before the Bell. He has been in control virtually every moment of this fight. Good angling right hand from Williams and a left hand as well. Austin Ammo Williams puts an exclamation point on a fantastic 2022. Goes the distance yet again. And it looks like he will be in line for his 13th win. Obviously stayed in it. It's really tough to stay in front of Ammo Williams for 10 rounds like that. And his nose was bloodied early on in the fight. They did a good job controlling that. Prince Ziggy Williams pretty happy with his friend's performance as Williams goes the distance, and it looks like he will come away with another victory. Overall, your main takeaways, Richardson, from Austin Ammo Williams tonight?
I thought it was a great performance. He started taking over towards the middle half of the fight, and he just need to go back to the gym, work on certain things, his defense, and mainly taking away the right hand.
Madsen doing a decent job covering up, but it didn't deter Ammo Williams from targeting his punches straight up, right down the middle. Busted open his nose early on and was able to put together quality combos on his way to get through 10 rounds for a second straight fight. And now the attention for Ammo Williams, well, one, turns to next week as he watches Felix Cash in action. But the early parts of 2023, whether those two will meet up or so, again, they've agreed in principle to a deal according to Matchroom Chairman Eddie Hearn. And we will see if that match could be put on in short order. But Simone Madsen looks like he will be on the verge of taking his first loss. We're waiting the official results, which will be coming up in a few moments. Ammo Williams having fun in the ring. Hillary thinks he did more than enough to come away with the victory here on Before the Bell. We're about to make this official here in Glendale. Let's go to David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds here in Glendale, Arizona, all three judges scored this bout identically, 99-90 for your winner by unanimous decision. He's still undefeated, Austin Ammo Williams.
So Austin Ammo Williams makes it a sweep on the scorecard. Doesn't pitch a shutout. 99-92 for all three scorecards.
In the ring with the belt.
If I was to ask you which round you think Madsen came away with, what would you say?
I'm not sure exactly what round, but I just know in the fight Ammo was getting hit with some right hands, I think early on in the fight. So, I mean, that's probably the rounds he probably won.
Ammo Williams, with his management team, his trainers, coming into the ring. They're going to pose for some photos. He improves to 13-0. Simone Madsen, meanwhile, falls to 13-1. And that's been the theme here on Before the Bell. Busy fighters picking up their third or fourth win of the calendar year. And they've all individually shown a lot of growth, some similar ways, others taking larger steps forward, I should say, as they're at some different points in their career. Ammo Williams obviously at a different point than a guy like Mark Castro, not too far ahead, but different than Anthony Herrera, and much different than Beatriz Ferreira, who's just starting out, but looked very impressive in her second pro fight. There you see Dwight Pratchett, Eric Woods, Danny Rowland, all with Ammo Williams as he's strapped up and is ready to celebrate a victory here in the desert as he picks up win number 13, stays undefeated, and it is on to what could be a very promising 2023. We take a look at some of the final footage of this main event on Before the Bell. Ammo Williams, again, 1 round away from pitching a shutout. He takes a unanimous decision win, 99-90 over Simone Madsen. And that's going to wrap it up here on Before the Bell. The main card is next. Richardson Hitchens joining us for the main event here on Before the Bell, and he did a terrific job. Great talking to you. Great spending some time with you. Come back anytime you want. We're looking forward to seeing you in 2023 here on Matchroom Boxing.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you again.
Thank you, Richardson. As we get set to go for the main card, Estrada, Chocolatito, the Trilogy coming up later tonight on DAZN. The main card set to start up at the top of the hour. We'll have 4 matches. And the lighter weights showcased for sure. Velasquez, Rosales starting off the main card. Pacheco and Luna as Diego Pacheco looks to stay undefeated and make his first regional title defense against a very game and experienced opponent. The co-feature, Julio Cesar Martinez, back at flyweight, trying to make it a 5th successful flyweight title defense as his WBC strap is on the line against the former Spanish Olympian Samuel Carmona. And then the main event, the one that we have been waiting over a year and change for, the one that has started and stopped, had to get through COVID protocols. Both fighters stepping aside, each with their individual bouts of COVID. This one finally getting made, finally becoming official near the end of the summer. And we are just hours away now from Juan Francisco Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez clashing for a 3rd time. Maybe it's the final time. Maybe a 4th fight is on the horizon. But the big question as we hyper-focus on the main event here in Glendale, Arizona, where will this rank when it's all said and done among the great trilogies that we have seen in this fabulous sport? Will it be on par with the likes of Ward Gotti or an Ali Frazier? We're only hours away from finding out. But based on what we've seen in terms of work rate, punch volume, the way these two have been as resilient as they've been over the course of their career, and specifically over the last several years with Chocolatito, as he, for all intents and purposes, was written off after his knockout defeat to Sorungvasai. He's had a brilliant second act. Can he continue that, exact revenge against Estrada after a second fight in which many felt that he won? He believes he won. He has the opportunity to perhaps right a wrong later on tonight in this main event, and then we'll see where his career takes him. He's talked about potentially moving up to 118. You obviously know that when it comes to both fighters, they want to be great, and their body of work certainly illustrates that. It's going to be another one that could be a fight of the year contender between these two, but will it rank all time among the greatest trilogies? That's the big question that we are set to find out tonight on DAZN. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on DAZN, the main card getting ready to go between Estrada and Chocolatito, the trilogy here from Glendale. For our entire Before the Bell crew, for Richardson Hitchens, for Alicia Baumgardner, for Jesse Bam Rodriguez, this is Justin Shackles saying so long from Glendale. Enjoy Estrada, Chocolatito, the trilogy.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It's now time for the featured bout